Prophecy!
Whoa.
Stay! No, stay! Stay, friend! Stay, friend! Prophecy! Prophecy caused all this trouble!
I'm sorry, but how can anyone take you seriously with that voice? And then that noise he makes. Yeah. He goes, mmm. I believe he goes, mmm. 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 Undoubtedly the most well-known Skeksis in the Dark Crystal, Skeksil the Chamberlain. Famous for his and his cunning nature. Today I'm going to be talking about my thoughts and opinions on this character. So, if you have the time, let's hop on this Landstrider and enjoy the ride. The Skeksis I love to hate. And why? Because he killed Skekvar.
Imagine, if you had just kept him around, he would have been a loyal friend to you. And just saying, he probably would have protected you from Skekon. You saved his life, he would probably save yours, right? But no, you were too upset over losing a game of musical chairs.
And don't get me started on that that blasted sound of his. Although that is a very clever thing to add to a character. It makes him a ton more iconic. Now, as much as I hold an enormous amount of contempt for him, I do believe that the Chamberlain is one of the most crucial characters to the series. Example 1. Skeksil was the one who inspired the scientists to start draining the Gelfling in the first place, thus igniting the main conflict in the story. Example 2. He got the Gelfling to distrust Rian. Example 3. He was the one to come up with the idea of creating the Gartham, also bring in the 2 main ingredients for its creation. He brought in the Grunax. He also provided the scientists with the parts of the Aratham. Had it not been for Skeksil wanting to get back in goods with the other Skeksis, Jen and Kira would have become Gartham food. Skeksil is also a very well-written character. How I view him? He's a scheming henchman who wants to overthrow his boss. And I think with the Chamberlain, it was executed in the best way possible. The way he would manipulate others and actually succeed is impressive. He has that kind of voice where you know he's up to something, but he figures out which words to use to lure others into a false sense of confidence. What I like is that he'll throw other people's words right back at them, which seems pretty effective. This was shown on the first episode during the end, where basically he reminds the Emperor that they are Lords of the Crystal. No one will believe Rian because they have all the Gelfling pooled. Ha ha ha.
We are Lords of the Crystal.
Emperor must remember his own words. We are Lords of the Crystal. Even if Rian talk, none will believe.
He is damn good at prompting others to make decisions that will benefit himself. My favorite example is the carriage scene. He knew he had Rian entangled, using real moments to gaslight the Gelfling into staying with him on the carriage. Being so confident that he would not run for the hills.
There was nothing I could do.
You run. And when Drenching Friend is caught, what did Gelfling do?
Well, Gurjin told me.
Run! And father too! Gobbled up by gobbles, so son could run. Run! Have your war!
But it will be on Rian's head when all Gelfling die, because you chose to run.
Again. At last, a Gelfling with sense.
He was so fed up with Rian's defiance, so he pulls a risky move like that. I will applaud him just this once. Actually, I'll have to give him another round of applause. Just for the fact that he can even come up with these crazy but genius ideas. Snatching the essence, creating loyal soldiers out of Aratham. This damn Skek is creative. It is astounding how he's able to regain the trust from those he's wronged. And how he does this is by taking these huge risks, doing very immoral things, or playing people like little chess pieces on a chessboard. Skekvar loathed Skeksil. He was convinced that he, never in a million years, could trust him. But Skeksil killed Tavra, a very lovable character, to save General Brute's life. And then Var was given the essence that Skeksil could have saved for himself, successfully earning the General's trust, loyalty, respect. I'd also like to know how Skeksil was deprived from essence for quite a while, and yet he still gave it up. He will go so far for revenge. Makes you wonder what he would have planned for Skekung. More about Skeksil taking risks. He is even willing to endanger himself, like calling the hunter back to the castle, which, by the reactions of the other Skeksis, is a stupidly dangerous idea. Skekvar would call it desperation, but I would say it's genius, and the show of how dedicated Skeksil is to achieving his goals. It is so frustrating and admirable how Skeksil is able to shift the blame so flawlessly. A prime example of this is with the scientist. The vial of Mir's essence was stolen. All fingers were pointed towards Skeksil. Even Skeklag was saying how he wasn't surprised.
The scientist has placed the blame upon your head.
Despite being backed up into a wall, Skeksil still managed to talk his way out of it. And in a matter of seconds too. And by taking full accountability, instead of immediately pointing fingers towards Skektek, he admits that he is the one to blame.
Scientist speaks true. Chamberlain is to blame.
That he deserves to face the consequences.
I deserve to be punished. Flog me, scold me. I am riddled with shame. Such shame.
And by admitting the truth, he feels that it is safe to start directing the blame towards Skektek. By twisting the events that happened in the lab.
If only I had arrived in lab sooner. By the time I got there, too late! Filthy Gelfling stolen Vial. I tried to protect Vial, but scientist attacked me. Knocked Vial from my grasp.
He even had that scientist second-guessing himself.
Is this true, scientist?
Technically. I tried to stop them.
The vial was clearly the scientist's responsibility.
And it worked! That slippery worm got out of it! From what I've seen so far, I believe that Skeksil is the most patient one out of all the Skeksis. He could have snatched Jen at any given moment, but he waited. He could have killed General Brute in the catacombs, but he waited. But this is what I like. Because of his patience, he prevented even darker things from happening in the story, and also he allowed Skekvar to have more screen time. What I found funny is how Skeksil is always feeling the need to milk his pain, when it's clear that the Skeksis don't even give a damn. Like what, does he think they'll kiss his boo-boos better? Come on, who are you fooling? And let me just say, I appreciate his observation skills. And I must admit, the way he chooses his words is interesting. And that he could use his words as a weapon, that is a fantastic idea for a character. A scene where I really respected the Chamberlain is during the feast on episode 4. He was the one thinking about the future.
A wise shepherd does not cull entire herd, yes?
Suggesting to only take what Gelfling they need to survive.
We should take only what Gelfling we need to survive.
I couldn't help but wonder if Skeksil was still in the Emperor's good graces during that scene where Celadon was offering up her own people, each shrine. Would Skeksil have convinced the Emperor that it was a good idea and that he should take the deal? Huh? Would he?
No.
That's what I want to know. There's another scene worth talking about on the show. And that, drumroll please, is the carriage scene. I know, I talked about this one already, but it's so good. Because there are more things that happen during these scenes that honestly give me goosebumps. I can't express how good the dialogue is in this scene. He was taunting Rian.
Struggle is pointless, but Gelfling is welcome to try if helps pass time.
His defense, all things kill.
And what are Skeksis?
Evil.
How are Skeksis evil?
You killed Mira.
All things kill.
And how one creature must consume another to survive.
Is Snidbird evil because it eats crawling Nurlock?
Birds eat to live.
So do Skeksis. All living things consume other things to survive. Not evil, natural.
The way these lines were delivered too was phenomenal. I like how he prefers to keep the peace instead of just diving headfirst into war, you know, like the general would.
All Gelfling are in danger. Stand with Skeksis and silence whispers of rebellion. Stop war before it starts.
You don't care about the Gelfling.
False. I am only reason Gelfling's still alive.
I'm going to agree. Skeksil is probably the reason why the Skeksis hadn't wiped out the Gelfling race when they took over Thra. I swear, I hate this character. It's just the writing and the actors I love. Alright? Believe me. A scene where, in my opinion, showed just how cruel Skeksil can get is where he's drinking Mir's essence in front of Rian as he's screaming and crying in horror. And then Skeksil is also letting out these bone-chilling laughs and replying with a tasty, tasty.
Tasty! Tasty! We send her back to Thra.
You just drink the person he loves as if she's a can of Red Bull. Which reminds me, he may be the most patient, but there's still those moments where it can only go so far. Bringing up Mira's essence again, he dared to steal it from Skektek's lab, when he could have just waited until he rebuilt the machine so that he can drain more Gelfling. I just wanted to mention that.
Alone at last.
There were a couple of moments where I felt bad for him. Skeksil watching the Emperor give away his power to Skekvar right in front of him. I do love Skekvar, and I'm happy for him. But that must have sucked. And to make matters worse, he gets knocked down, and his hand got crushed. Watching that scene and seeing him scream almost made me want to comfort him. Almost. And when watching the movie, seeing that part where Jen struck his hand with the crystal shard, I thought back to that scene. It's like as if he had a painful reminder of that humiliation that he went through. Of course, that's just my personal headcanon. Now, the second time that I felt bad for him, when he merged back into the Skeks. This goes to the other Skeksis who merged back. They will remember all of these terrible things that they have done. The lying, the murdering, all of that. Perhaps they learned to forgive themselves. I just can't imagine how I'd feel in that situation. But enough of that doom and gloom. Let's talk about some funny things.
Chamberlain, no, wait, stop, you can't. Huh?
And also, how about the satisfying things that happened to Skeksil? To me, the funniest interaction between Skeksil and Skekvar had to be their back and forth in the banquet hall. He went and told General Brute how dim-witted he was, and the General's reaction to that was funny.
Incompetent Smith!
Oh, how exciting!
A meal and a show.
Lead us into war!
I welcome war!
Because you are too thick-headed to use brains!
His funniest moment in the movie that my sister and I laughed at was when he's trying to take away the scepter from the dying emperor. Like, come on, can't you just wait? And to top it off, he had to go, at the emperor's death. Oh, and there's nothing more satisfying than that scene where he walked into Stone in the Wood and all the Gelfling were throwing peach berries at him and calling him Draina and cursing at him. I know they didn't actually curse at him. It's just funny to think that they did. And then that's followed by another splendiferous scene with every Skeksil telling him, "Get out, you stink, be gone, you filth." I'll drink to that. Fast forward to the future of Thra, we see Skeksil pulling yet another risky move by challenging Skekang to a trial by stone. And this bold move, however, did not end up benefiting him. Instead, Skekang put him right in his place. That sword drop will never not be funny. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Now, I have a question for you. What do you think Skeksil would have done if he were emperor? Well, tell me if you like. But for now, I bid you good day, good night, etc. Just relax, be at rest, like a bird in a nest. Trust in me, just in me. Shut your eyes, trust in